the magic and demonology of Babylonia and Assyria. Like other primitive races, the peoples of Chaldea scarcely discriminated between religion and magic. One difference between the priest and the sorcerer was that one employed magic for religious purposes, while the other used it for his own ends. It's worth noting here that the Eshipu, the sorcerer, was merely one of the titles for the priesthood. The Shangu Maku, the Eshipu, the Mushelu, and the Mashmashu, who were all part of the priesthood. And the original meaning for priest is a mallet used to kill fish when caught angling. They are the human gatekeepers, the barrier between the human and the divine. The literature of Chaldea, especially its religious literature, teems with references to magic, and in its spells and incantations we see the prototypes of those employed by the magicians of medieval Europe. Indeed, so closely do some of the Assyrian incantations and magical practices resemble those of European sorcerers of the Middle Ages and of primitive peoples of the present day, that it is difficult to convince one's self that they are of independent origin. In Chaldea, as in ancient Egypt, the crude and vague magical practices of primeval times received form, reformation, and developed into accepted ritual, just as early religious ideas evolved into dogma under the stress of theological controversy and opinion. The controversy caused by the Reformation, as there were men who would dispute upon religious questions, and so there were persons who would dispute magical matters. This is not to say that the terms religion and magic possessed any well-defined boundaries, nor is it at all clear as they do for us in the 20th century. They overlap. The magical Kuduru standing stone is a perfect example. They overlap. And it has long been the belief of the writer that their relations are represented by two circles which intersect one another, and the areas of which partially coincide. The Kuduru stone was placed beyond the borders of Assyria to poison the land, meaning tempt people into its worship, making the region easier to assimilate. They overlap. From Babylonia to Assyria, from Assyria to Egypt, from Egypt to Greece, to Rome, to Germania, to France, and then Britain. The writer has outlined his opinions, the writer being A.H. Sayers, the professor and priest who was the head of Oxford University, and whether he likes it or not, he is my unofficial mentor. I have found that nobody's work comes close to Sayers. In fact, he is the main source on this subject. So why was he cancelled? Because he was the main source on this subject. The writer has outlined his opinions regarding the origin of magic, and has little to add to what he then wrote, except that he desires to lay stress upon the identification of early religion and magic. It is only when they begin to evolve, to branch out, that the two systems present differences. If there is any one circumstance which points out the difference more than another, is that the ethical element does not enter into magic, as it does into religion. That Chaldean magic was the precursor of European medieval magic, Enochian, the language of the angels, as part from popular sorcery and witchcraft, is indicated not only by the similarity between the systems, but by the introduction into medieval magic of the names of Babylonian and Assyrian gods and their magicians, the Shangu Makku. Again and again is Babylon appealed to, even more frequently than Egypt, and we meet constantly with the names of Beelzebub, Ishtar, Azashtarte, Baal, and Moloch. They are the names of demons, obviously of Babylonian origin, and they are encountered in almost every work on the subject. Frequent allusions are also made to the wise men and the necromancers of Babylon, and to the stargazers of Chaldea. Sin, Zu, wisdom. The conclusion is irresistible that ceremonial magic, as practiced in the Middle Ages, owed much to that of Babylon. Our information regarding Chaldean magic is much more complete than that which we possess concerning the magic of ancient Egypt. Hundreds of spells, incantations, and omen inscriptions have been recovered, and these not only enlighten us regarding the class of priests who practiced magic, they inform us of the several varieties of demons, ghosts, and evil spirits. They minutely describe the Babylonian witch and wizard, and they picture for us many magical ceremonies, besides informing us of the names of scores of plants and flowers possessing magical properties, of magical substances, jewels, amulets, and the like. Also they speak of ordering, or the divination of the future, the drawing of magical circles, of the exorcism of evil spirits, and the casting out of demons. See the Pitpi ritual and the Maklu tablet, where you will learn that the priesthood are openly invoking the king of Legion, Pazuzu.